Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NEC in Birmingham. My name is Total Biscuit, and the tournament was delayed somewhat due to lag spikes in the internet connection. We seem to have sorted those out, so we're going to be going into it. As you can hear the countdown in the background, and it's going to be Select versus Socke by the looks of it. Admittedly, in my lobby, it looks like there's no second opponent, but there you go. It has loaded in. Thank God it's not Select versus Total Biscuit. That probably wouldn't work out so well, but whatever the case, it's going to be a TVP matchup on the Shakuras Plateau. Looking forward to this one. This should be very entertaining. Admittedly, pretty much all the matchups in this set have been very entertaining up until this point, regardless of whether or not they happen to be PvP. I bring you the one and only Select. He is in the red trunks, and he is from Team Dignitas. He is playing Terran right here on the Shakuras Plateau up to the northeast versus his opponent Socke. In the light blue trunks, he is playing Protoss from Team Attacks down to the southwest. This should be fantastic. Now, I haven't managed to cast too much of Select so far. He's one of the 2 Terran players in this tournament. There are 4 Protoss and 2 Terran, and that is pretty much it because a couple of the people had to drop out. So we're having a very small tournament today, but there's £5,000 on the line, and every one of these players is looking to try and take the top spot and gain a massive slice of that prize pool. And who can blame them, honestly? With so few players in it, there are an awful lot of chances to earn a little bit of money here. And I should point out that they are pretty much all evenly matched. I think probably the only one that isn't right now would be Bling, the newest member of Team Dignitas, although he is putting on a great show, and he was actually able to beat Select in the group stages. As always, we are currently still in the group stages right now. We haven't gone through to the double elimination as of yet. Once we do, I will let you know. And remember to keep an eye on cadred.org and Esports Heaven for brackets and a tentative schedule. This is the 5,000, yes, I do indeed mean £5,000 Invitational brought to you by Alienware in the NEC right here. Well, well, well. Select starting himself off and walling off against his opponent by the looks of it. Select has got an interesting variety of builds available. Some things he can do are a little bit crazy. Some things are very standard but very well executed. He is a very flexible player. We'll see just how well he can actually do right here against the German giant known as Socke and his excellent efficiency. Socke pushing forward right now to have a little bit of a look around, seeing what he can see. However, the wall-off is complete, so I have to wonder if Select's going to do something a little bit unusual. No gas as of yet. That's interesting. Select already sorting out a command center. No gas. I am intrigued, Select. What do you have coming up for us? What could it be? It could be the 6 barracks approach that TLO showed us. He actually showed us a 7 barracks, but then went into a 6 barracks approach in a more recent game. Select could be trying to ape that. We'll find out. Could be going for proxy barracks, also a possibility. Still no gas right now for Select. Really pumping out the SCVs. No sign of building that right now at all. And I would think, honestly, he's going to go for an early expansion right now. I mean, what else would he be doing? He's got so much money right now. And there you go. Come on, are you going to build one? Yeah, there you go. Select building an expansion right now. And will he bother to go for the gas? We'll find out. Or is he just going to go for barracks, barracks, barracks? And hell, why not? Marines beat everything, right? We'll find out. Select does have a good number of Marines on the field already, gains map control, and is able to deny any further scouting. Double gas now coming up to follow it up. So no 6 barracks approach, and I'm sure some of you might be a little bit disappointed by that. But hey, I don't think it's reasonable to call 6 barracks every single time. Oh yes, it's that patented 6 barracks build. No, that's TLO only. And as Idris said, you can do that? I'm like, well, I suppose you can, but it ends up losing anyway. But Socke, with an expansion of his own right now, hasn't scouted the expansion of Select at all. Although, I have to wonder whether or not Select deliberately walled off to to avoid his opponent seeing that he didn't have any gas. That's a possibility, certainly. Bunker coming down right here for Select as well. Stalker on the way up. That's going to get shot to pieces if he's not careful. Needs to get the hell out of there. Shields are down, however. Socke will easily be able to escape that without a problem. A second bunker coming down. Select is really taking hold of this particular area. Has no interest in letting anything onto his lawn. Damn Protoss varmints, folks. Varmints. Pests, that's what they are. Oh, and a sneaky little SCV comes in and dodges that probe. One little zap will take him out, but look at all that scouting information. He's gathering an interception, and Socke grabs him before he's able to scout the second assimilator. Not that that should matter. I mean, at this stage of the game, he's got to have that one already. For God's sake, he's playing Protoss, and he's not going to Gateway Rush, so he's got to have that. Another gateway coming down, a robotics facility on its way up for Socke, and almost complete right now on the Nexus. However, bear in mind the second orbital command is already rolling. We can do a little bit of a comparison between the income if you so desire. You'll see that Select is slightly ahead as a result of the mules from those double orbital command centers, but nothing that you really need to worry about right now. It's not an intense difference between these two players. We do have a starport coming down for Select as well, and a tech lab coming up. And looking at the timing of it, looks like a tech lab's going to finish significantly before that, so I'd actually expect tanks as opposed to any kind of swap over. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to build it now. Could have up to Hellier now, but you never know, folks. You never know. Always keep that in mind. There are a wide variety of different possibilities. I try to avoid predicting the future. I just like to give people options. As it turns out, Tanks was correct, and the Siege Tank is on his way. Still hasn't grabbed these two other Vespene guys, so he's not going to go too heavy into that thus far, but he might decide to go for that a little bit later, especially if he's going to start doing upgrades, which he's not doing right now. No sign of anything in terms of engineering bay or anything like that. Moving over the starport right now. Is he shooting in his own starport? In fact, he is. That is an interesting tactic. I don't think I've ever seen that one before, so thank you, Select, for that one. And an engineering bay coming down for him as well. In the meantime, Socke just chilling out as he tends to. Socke, a very chilled out player, very relaxed. Thought it to him quite a bit at the tournament, and he's not worried about anything. It's really awesome. Robotics facility, robotics bay down for him. Pretty standard build for him versus the Terran. You can't really blame him, honestly. Select managed to sneak away. Oh, yes, by the skin of his teeth. That Marine could have been ripped apart by the Stalker right there. As it turns out, it doesn't happen. And a Banshee on its way up as well for Select right now. Really keeping things interesting. And hey, Show can use it, so why can't Select? And Select already has a pretty nice army up already. If you have a look at it, 9 Marines and a Siege Tank. Nothing to really complain about. This game could go on for quite some time by the looks of it, because neither player really looking to push forward right now. Observer should be out for Socke right now. It is, and it's heading across the map, already hanging around. He's got good scouting information actually all over the place if you have a look at it. That's pretty good. He's got this forward stalker, which actually has spotted the Banshee. Nice placement there by Socke. He should be well aware of that and ready to deal with it. Pylon coming down, another observer coming out. Very smart play by him, and looking to warp in some stalkers I'd imagine to deal with that. If you have a look at it, actually Socke does have a significant force of stalkers available. I don't think this Banshee is going to do too much damage, but you never know. Really depends where that observer goes. The cloaking field will not be ready by the time contact is made, however, so Socke could be ready for this interception, and if Select is not quick, then he's going to be dragged down to the pits of Hades himself. Oh, yes, and here we go, folks, and the observer tracking that one as well. That means Select is going to get torn apart. However, he should be able to get out of this one. Looks like the Stalker is getting a little bit hung up on the terrain and on the probe, so Socke not managing to grab that for the time being, and in the meantime, behind that, Select is elected to expand once again. Yes, double reactors coming down as well. Checking it out right here, and you see it's going down on the barracks over there. Nice stuff, nice stuff. Marines on the way. One coming out of the starport as well, so we're just going to switch back to Marine Marauder Medivac for the time being. Get a little bit of harassment going in. Select looking to go in for another shot. The question is, will he be able to do any damage, more to the point? Well, there is only one, I do say again, one Stalker, and the Observer is actually out of position right now, so some damage could be done. Socke might be forced to pull that Observer back once again, but Select not bothering to go in right now. That Solitary Stalker just keeping watch. Chilled out once again, kind of like Socke. And Ghost Academy, almost complete for Select right here. And if we have a look at the economy of the two players, it is fairly equal, slight advantage in terms of Select. Both starting to get that 4 gas out, so a lot of tech-heavy units on the way. Upgrades coming up for Socke as well. We've got Colossus upgrade, we've got Thermal Lance, we've got Charge, we've got a couple more gateways, we've got a Forge. Isn't it wonderful? Let's just build everything. It's a good strategy, folks. The build everything strategy is very popular, I find, amongst today's metagame players. Select, you really haven't done an awful lot with that Banshee, I'm afraid. It would be nice to see you go in and do some damage, but Socke is more than prepared for that, having suffered at the hands of Show in terms of his Banshees in the past. That's not really what you want, and it's already happened in this tournament. Socke looking for a push out, however, does he have the unit count for it? It's pretty good, actually. He does have 13 Zealots on the field. No upgrades for him as of yet, with the exception of Charge, which will be complete fairly shortly. I just heard a Banshee, and the Banshee might be shot to pieces by the looks of it. Select going for it. However, Select is lacking an Observer there, so not Select, that would be silly. You know what I'm talking about. Socke the observer, or lack thereof, unable to really spot that if it decides to go in it closer. That's a little bit concerning. On the Nexus coming down here for Socke. This one almost complete planetary fortress in the mix. Not the kind of thing that you really want to run into on a dark night or indeed a warm and sunny morning. One way or the other, it's still going to tear you a new arsehole. Right now, Select is sitting on a good force, honestly. A lot of Marauders on the field, a lot of Marines. No Stim, though. Stim only just completing, and no level 1 weapon upgrade. Actually, neither of these guys really going heavy into upgrades. We've only got ground weapon coming up for Socke. He's going to go for the push anyway. He's got a proxy pylon right there. Goes in for it. And there is the charge right into the line. The Stim has gone off. He got there just in time. Socke able to push his way in there. And really, honestly, Select doesn't have an awful lot to going for him right now. He can't deal with his Colossi. He'll be able to tear his way through that tank very easily. Planetary Fortress inflicting quite a lot of damage on those Colossi. But, however, the Siege Tank raining it down right now. A lot of damage being done to Socke. He's going to have to back up. He doesn't want to take another shot from that. Good lord. 4 HP on that one. Dicing with death is Socke. Needs to bring the Banshee down. Will it focus fire on the... it doesn't take it. And that was an opportunity for Select that was missed, honestly. That Planetary Fortress holds up. We have a look at the units lost right now. A lot of units killed and the units lost resource counter. Select has lost a few more. It's not really a huge deal right now. More upgrades on the way, streaming out for Socke. Socke sitting in a good position right now, and honestly, not enough Vikings on the field to deal with those Colossi. We've got 2 more coming out, but still 3 Vikings on 3 Colossi, and now 4 just isn't enough, even with damaged shields and armor on 2 of them. And he's going to be able to snipe away that, no problem whatsoever. No siege tanks within range to deal with it, and eventually that Planetary Fortress will bleed out. He's going to have to try and repair that one, and that is a little bit risky, of course. He can move forward just a little bit. Vikings trying to do a little bit of damage. Shields down, trying to collapse the Colossus, but it's not going to happen right now. One Zealot sniped off. Select getting a little bit aggressive right now, just trying to defend as much as possible. I'd still be concerned about his army supply count right now. Socke has a 20 supply advantage in that regard, which is not what you want at this stage of the game at all. Dark Templar Shrine on the way up for Socke as well. Got to start varying things up. I don't really blame him, honestly. Not a huge amount of missile turrets or detection units of any description right now for Select, and that could be his Achilles heel right now. Socke pushing forward. No, I think not, Select. Good lord. That is 2 bunkers down almost immediately, and a missile of it raining down right there with everything he's got in terms of his artillery pieces, but not an awful lot, honestly. EMP goes off in the middle. Not a huge amount of damage done. Few Zealots picked off as they go back, and the counterattack moving in right here from Select. This could be a bit of a problem for Socke. However, he should be able to hold the line by the looks of it. Looking to lose a lot of Zealots, a lot of Stalkers in every single wave of attack right now for Select. However, he's still taking huge amounts of damage for those siege tanks. That's a real problem right now. The positioning for Select is very, very good, and Socke actually bled a lot of units right there, which is not what he wanted to do at all. And units lost now is getting a lot closer, and Socke, while I believe he does have a small economic advantage, he's pretty much about equal right now. He still can't afford to throw those units away, and certainly not into the more of those tanks, inflicting so much damage. 10 kills on that siege tank right there, and Select is still in a good position. Select looking to expand once again. He could go down here, but of course that's guarded by a Zealot. That will be easily scattered, and there are now Dark Templar in the mix. The question is how much damage can be done. Oh dear, no forward missile turret. That's critical. Select needs to scan that. He needs to see them coming. If he doesn't, this mineral line is going to be ripped apart, and it looks like he's not spotted them at all. Needs to get the scan in there. I actually kind of question Socke's decision to attack right now, because that army is there. The scan will come down. The question is, can he get away from it? Looking for a missile deployment, tries to escape. It does not happen. However, there is another one in that mineral line, and here we go. 5 down. Looking for the 6th one right here, and really, he's got to get back there almost immediately. Deal with that as quickly as possible. Missile turret going down and finally takes it out, but that was definitely worthwhile right there for Socke, no question. 21 workers killed by Socke right now. Also got a Zealot into this line. Did a little bit of damage. The Planetary Fortress dealt with it fairly easily. Warning to Terran players, for God's sake, build missile turrets in your mineral line, because otherwise that can happen to you. And economically, that's pretty critical, because it's 97 workers versus 67 right now. The question is, can Socke actually do anything to consolidate this lead? It doesn't matter if you've got an amazing economy. If you can't do anything with it, then what's the point? Upgrade-wise, Socke's looking pretty good. He's sitting on ground weapon level 2. He's going for level 3 right now. In the meantime, Select pushes forward once again. Upgrades are 1 and 1 for him. So a little bit behind, but not really by an awful lot. Templar Archives on the way up for Socke as well. A smart move considering the amount of Vikings that Select has in the air. It's still only 7 Vikings versus 5 Colossi, but still, that's a lot of damage you can inflict on it. In the meantime, Select was unable to deploy right there because of the Zealot simply standing guard. Nothing really going to happen for him there. It took him ages to really get get that. And in the meantime, Socke is able to redeploy because he knows exactly where Select is. Looking for another engagement right now, trying to take it on the missile turret, isn't able to do it. A quick deployment of force fields to try and delay a misfire in terms of the EMP. Once again, pushing into the line, needs to bring those Vikings down. Vikings caught completely out of position and annihilated. Look at that, blink right into the line. Excellent play. Now Select trying for the counter-attack. Can he get it? Looks to try and stay off the Colossi. Those Colossi are very, very weak right now. Need to get out of position. And there you go. Thankfully able to defend it right there by Socke, but still, that was dangerous. That was a very dangerous move there by Socke, and Select almost caught him out right now. And once again, if we have a look at units lost, it is very, very equal right now. It really, really is. A lot of units killed on both sides. If we have a look at the economy, it's massively in favor of Socke right now because of that harassment, and of course he has a fully functional fourth base up there. And honestly, I'm very surprised to not see Select actually harassing with drops right now, because really he could do it, and he should. He should start to do damage to the economy of his opponent, because if he doesn't, Socke is just going to roll all over him. He has an upgrade advantage, he has a cash advantage. Select needs to take the fight to him. He can't just stick around like that. It's not going to help him out in the long run. Especially with Psionic Storm coming on the way. Those highly stationary and highly immobile troops are going to be torn apart by the ravening warp energies. There are now 6 Dark Templar in the mix as well, I might point out. I'm keeping an eye out to see if they're harassing, but they're not right now. They are actually in the mix with the army, which is a great idea, considering that Select does not have any Ravens out right now, and is not going to be able to easily detect what's in there, especially since you can hide them very easily under this Colossi. Colossi are big enough to shield pretty much anything. 6 Colossi now in the field, 14 Zealots. And we've also got 2 High Templar in the mix as well for him. That's level 3 weapons upgrade, folks. Armor is on the way. Level 3 is on the way for him. There's a quick scan. Was he able to see any Dark Templar? I think he spotted one. And here we've got yet another engagement as Select charges in with a massive ball of Marauders. However, those Colossi are in good position. He snipes off 1, loses 2 and 3. Oh, wow. Select pushes forward and rapidly rips apart Socke. That was a misstep. Oh, good lord, that really, really was. And the Dark Templar are doing a huge amount of damage. There's the scan right there. However, loses all of them. And really, those Colossi going down as critical. Select was very patient, and now a counter-attack could be coming in. Socke needs to get his forces back in shape immediately. He does have Zealots, he does have High Templar, which will help him an awful lot, and I'm not too worried right now for him versus Select. However, that was a critical misstep. As you can see right there, a lot of resource damage being done. Now, this 5th base under great threat. It will, I would imagine, go down. Here we go. Stalkers and Zealots moving in to try and deal with that. Can he do it? Here we go. Lots of sniping damage coming in right here. That's huge damage done right here to Select. And Select pushes it all the way back. Snipes off yet another nice blink there by Socke. A counterattack by Select, but he doesn't really have the unit count he needs to make that effective. Look at those High Templar. How much energy? Certainly quite a bit. By the second engagement, should be able to do 2 storms apiece. And he does have some ghosts in the mix to try and snipe those off. Still, I have to wonder, will Socke go for more harassment? I mean, if you have a look at this, this is very, very harassable indeed. Select moving out with a force of Vikings. What is he going to be able to do with that? He'll gain some scouting information, certainly. Take a shelling from the ground. Oh, wow. Socke blinks in. Takes 1, looks for the second, looks for the third. Ew, that was so very, very close. And Select caught out of position. However, in the meantime, he used that for cover for an attack right there. A lot of damage done. The Nexus isn't driven away just yet. And still, Socke looking to defend this. The Storms will make the difference right here. Storms at the front, and Select moving rapidly away from that one once again. Here's the charge. Still, those Marauders are able to hold them off quite nicely. And level 3 weapons is getting very close to completion. And he has level 2 armor as well. This is a deadlock situation right here. And as you can see, Socke trying to break it with some warp prisms. A smart move by him. And still no drops from Select, which is honestly quite surprising considering the situation he's in versus Socke. Have a look at income comparison, and still Socke ahead in terms of his mineral count right now. He does have the base advantage. Select sitting on that base right there, which is good, and looking to morph yet another planetary fortress. Not bothering with the macro orbital command centers. Don't really blame him right now, honestly. He's got a ton of free energy. That might be a dead Marauder, but nope, Select. Look at that. I'm sorry, it's adorable. Jogging as rapidly as possible back right there. That is 8 High Templar. Does anyone actually want to see 8 High Templar? I wouldn't as a Terran player. That is a lot of freaking storms. Select could get torn apart by good storm placement right here, and that could be what ends the game. We have a look at an army count comparison. We see that it's pretty much equal right now. Worker supply massively in favor of Socke. Expanding across the entire map. Very few areas still available to actually expand into. A lot of bases getting mined out. This one getting quite close. Natural expansion is done, needless to say. Got another one coming down right here. An expeditionary force moving forward for Socke. Eats EMP in the front, which is not good. Looking for those storms right there. Massive feedback dropping down, and Ghost annihilated. Runs right into a storm. Looks to get a second one. The Colossi caught out of position, however. He's running out of storms. He has nothing left in terms of his High Templar. Colossi surrounded, and Select able to deal with those once again. Socke with another misstep. A lot of damage done to Select, but not enough to bring him down. That upgrade lead is really helping right now for Select. It really, really is. That armor is doing an excellent job of keeping those protected. Look at that. Socke sitting on 3,500 minerals. He needs to start warping in things immediately. Dark Templar starting to harass it. Unfortunately, taking shelling for the missile turret. Needless to say, good placement there by Select. And, of course, he doesn't want to be fooled again. And that Nexus is going down. And the pylon. Oh, what massive cancel of units coming in right there. Not good at all for Socke. Takes down the pylon very quick. Double storm. Not good enough. Select easily able to maneuver around it. And we've got another warp in right here as Zealots as Storm to chase them off. They're very, very weak, but not quite enough. And even the Vikings landing to do a massive damage, tearing through a couple of Zealots in the process. Socke still defending extremely well right now, though. And he's got so much money. Needs to start throwing it at something. Gotta keep spending it. God, I wouldn't be surprised to see a freaking mothership or carrier coming in right now. Just like, hey, what else are you going to spend it on? Let's build some sensor towers. Sounds like a good plan. Oh, this is a long macro game, folks. That's what we like to see. And Select fixing up those forces right now. His army supply count is looking pretty good. In the meantime, that Warp Prism has gone in. And a little bit of harassment coming. A response is coming. A Dark Templar, double Dark Templar, slices that Marauder in two as he goes in there. Could have probably intercepted even more. High Templar there as well, looking for the Storm. Will it be nailed down? Storm is fired off, takes a couple of SCVs with it in the process. And the Zealots need to stay the hell away from that planetary fortress, though. Stalker's trying to do as much damage as possible, and income-wise, still Select is absolutely still lagging behind, but Socke is unable to do anything with it. He is still not able to put together a force that can actually deal with Select rapid Marauder response unit, as I like to call it. Here comes the charge. Those Zealots are toast. No way is that getting out of there. He knows it. Warp Prism torn apart right now. There's a feedback. Not able to take a Medivac in the process, however, and I don't think that Archon's really going to see the light of day, to be honest. Still no drops from Select. Very, very surprising right here to see that. A massive lack of aggression from him. What is his plan? What is he trying to do? What is he trying to accomplish? Army supply once again pretty much equal. And Socke capped out as a result of his probe count. Select not capped out as of yet. Dark Templar still on the field for Socke. A few more gateways being put down. Looking to try and rebuild this expansion right here. More upgrades. Ground armor level 3 coming in. He's going to end up building shield upgrades at this point. And what else is he going to spend all that money on? In the meantime, Select looking for a game-ending push right here. Will he have the numbers for it? Looks like he might. He's got 36 Marauders. I don't want to mess with 3-3, 36 Marauders. That's ridiculous. Makes a few of those units for free as well. But excellent force field placement. And then a Storm combination right now from Socke. Rips through those Marauders. A massive amount of damage. Can Socke actually counterattack? He cannot right now. He doesn't have the unit count, and he doesn't have the mobility to actually catch Select out of position. So those Medivacs should be able to get them nice and fixed up, although they are fairly low in terms of their energy. That's going to drain out quite rapidly for him. Socke sitting on 6 High Templar right now, still looking to do way more Storm damage. No sign of anything else, no motherships, no carriers, nothing like that. Not that you really would right now. Although actually against the Marauder heavy force like that, carriers would really work very well. There's a distinct lack of anti-air in Select forces right now. He's got 5 Vikings, but that certainly wouldn't be enough to deal with that many carriers. Admittedly, he doesn't have the upgrades for it, really. He's actually researching shields. There you go. It's gotten to that point, ladies and gentlemen. It has gotten to that point. Gateway's coming down right here for Socke, and this is an exhausting game right here. Socke is sacrificing probes. Isn't it adorable? Ah, they march to their deaths like little lemmings. I'm sorry. He needs more units. He has 3,500 minerals. They can't spend them on anything. Building as many upgrades. He just build more forges, man. But he's got everything he needs. Let's start getting some aircraft out. Why not? You know, get some Void Rays in the mix. With so many Marauders, I'm actually very surprised he hasn't gone for an air-heavy force. Take the Vikings down, and then you've got free pickings right here. Not a huge number of Marines, only 12 in the mix, so that's not all that critical. In the meantime, chasing away the command center. Can he grab it? He doesn't actually have an awful lot of ground firepower to deal with it. He might be able to do it. He's down to 50% health, looking for 35% right here. And it's on fire! It's on fire! It's so close! Oh, there we go. Nice play there by Socke, able to drive it away. And trying to restrict the economic growth of Select right now. Doing a pretty good job of it. However, Socke is starting to lag behind just a little bit, which is not a good position. 4,500 minerals in the bank right now. This is just silly. How else could you describe this? This is just silly. A snipes off the Templar. Nice play there by Select, able to bring him down very rapidly. There are 10 High Templar in that mix. That is a huge amount of damage if he's able to drop those storms correctly. Nice one. Feedback and annihilates one of those right there. That is one dead ghost. And in the meantime, using the shrubberies to his advantage, charging forward, trying to nail down a Marauder. It looks like he might be able to get it, and he does. However, army count still looking pretty damn equal. And right now, in an engagement, this is not good. Socke is getting caught out of position right now. He already took a huge amount of damage. That is so many storms. Jesus Christ. Wow. That lagged the game. There were so many storms. But still, Socke was caught out of position with the Colossi. That's not going to help right now. Army supply count not good, but he still has a huge number of minerals in the bag. He is currently building 3 Colossi at once because he freaking well can. Select forces annihilated by side storms again. Oh, wow, this is great stuff right now. That's a lot of dead medivacs. Do you see dead medivacs? Hey, I'm an Archon, and you are horribly, horribly dead. What can I say? Select is... God, this is a meat grinder. What else could you say about it? Look at this. Look at the amount of resources thrown away right now. Oh, God. We're really going to have to see some changes. I'm sorry. Photon cannon now firing on the destructible rocks because, hey, why not? Might as well find a use for it. It hasn't been able to do anything all game. Select expands once again. More High Templar on the way, more Colossi on the way, ship plating upgrades, looking for aircraft. Battle cruisers is obviously the answer to this, by the way. Get it sorted out, so like, get some battle cruisers on the field. Where is this late game tech? Finally, an armory being built once again. Hey, hang on, that's a second armory. I was going to say, what the hell? He already has one of those. Yes, double armory. Why not? Why not? No, Select, you may not expand there. Socke will not allow you to do so. Takes down another command center. God. This is violence. This is violence. What else could you really say about it? How else could you describe this other than just brutal economic violence? And oh, he can't expand right there because Select puts a CC down to block it. That's one way to do it, I suppose. Now the Nexus is down. Needs to leave there almost immediately. Otherwise, he's going to die horribly. Is there enough Stalkers? No, there is not. Not enough Stalkers to bring that down. Not enough firepower right there. Oh, no. A probe. Yeah, he was a bit short on that. God. Jesus Christ, that was a nice EMP. I'm sorry, the Storm and the feedback could have come in very rapidly right there, but it was a good nail down. And he has another Templar. There's the Psy Storm, and he runs a Ghost right into it. However, the Templar torn apart quite easily. More shield upgrades, more Nexus coming up for Socke. Where, I have to ask, are the endgame units from him? I mean, it's loads of Colossi coming in, not in bother with carriers. Once again, Select going forward. There's the Storm. He actually storms his own units right there. And a quick blink into the Maw of Madness. That was not a good idea for Socke. And a good Storm to follow it up, however. Needs to deal with those Vikings. They run right into a storm. Huge amount of damage being done. He could blink in, and that's what he does. He tries to snipe him off, and it's not good enough, I'm afraid. Not good enough at all. 37-minute mark on this game, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like it's not going anywhere right now. We could need a decisive win. Select looking to push his way through there. However, the Stalkers of Socke are ready to receive. Where are those Colossi, you have to ask? Where are those Colossi right now? In he comes once again. The Marauders will be able to hold the line, I would think. However, they're in a choke point right now. And the Colossi, a massive amount of firepower going for the side. Can it save it? Oh, wow. 2 HP left on that one. It's excellent stuff. More storms coming in. There's the charge. Select getting driven back once again. However, Socke's forces are actually falling apart right now. And those Marauders inflicting huge casualties. Does he have the unit count that he needs to really deal with this? Army supply looking a little bit dim. However, he's got way more units on the way up. Select continues with the push right now. Dart Templar in the mix because, hey, why not? Here comes the storm. Rips through it again. Counter-attack coming in right here from Socke, and Select still holding, however. Will this game ever end, one has to ask, and the answer to that question is, well, no, obviously it's not going to end at all. More shield upgrades coming up, Protoss shield upgrade level 2 coming in. Will this be the time when we see shield upgrade level 3? It might be. All of the points on the map, with the exception of this one right here that could be taken, are taken, and wow, Socke does not want him to have that. He really, really does not. And these things hit like trucks. They're hitting for 60 damage a swing right now. That's a little bit brutal. He might have to lose that, but he's looking for a scan right now. Into the line. How much more damage could he do? Answer is, well, none, honestly. Okay, what is Socke's plan here? I have to wonder. What is Select's plan, more to the point? They're just sort of sitting on either side of the map, throwing units at each other, hoping that some of them... Socke doesn't even care about that Templar. He has passed caring about the life of an individual Templar. He has thrown so many to their death already. Select's army supply count looking a little bit thin on the ground right now. Have a look at the units lost. This is just silly. It really, really is. Socke could actually get a good push going on right here. Here comes the warp, and he's going to catch those units out of position. Should be able to deal with them quite easily. There comes the charge. charge, and damage is done. However, he can't nail them down. Colossi following up. Not a huge number. He's only got 3 in the mix. Can he take the Planetary Fortress? Will he ever let Select expand? No, absolutely not. Down it goes. I'm sorry, but no amount of repairs is going to fix that kind of damage. Driving him in once again. Psystorm just to hold Select back more so than do any damage, but he takes out a couple of Marauders in the process, and Socke warping in more units. He actually has a massive army supply count advantage right now. He really needs to try and do some damage with this. Actually, get in the mix and throw it down. Socke's face a mask of nothing but focus, as is Select, I might add, 40 minutes into this particular matchup right here. It is ridiculous. More Warp Prisms on the way. Looking for Dark Templar harassment, I can only imagine. Is the APM still high? Damn right it is. The keyboards have holes in them. The keyboards might, in fact, be on fire. It is a possibility. No, Select, you may not expand to that area. It's just not allowed. This would be, what, the 4th CC's blown up right there? I'm interested to see what he does with this Warp Prism right now. Select just sort of hanging back, playing a little bit of goodie style right here. Still relying on nothing but the Marauders. I'm surprised to just not see some Thors out in the mix. Just something. Anything that's not Marauders. I have no idea. Oh, wow. Even an Archon in the mix for Socke right now. And it's actually got some kills as well. Fairly rare. Now, once Socke manages to max out his army, he's just going to start building cannons. What else are you going to do? Level 3 shields! You never thought you'd ever see it in a competitive game at any point, but level 3 shields is on its way. What a ridiculous situation we happen to be in right now. And actually the Protoss could gain such a significant advantage from that. Armor and shield upgrades. In comes the charge, and Select just rains it down right there on the Zealots. They do not stand a chance against that one. Double Storm is good. A lot of damage being done. And the Colossi able to clean up as well. Another Storm tears through the Medivacs. However, Socke still doesn't quite have the units. More scans coming down. Eliminates the Dark Templar. Archon is nailed down as well, and Socke's going to have to pull back. However, he does have reinforcements warping in. That Viking count is looking pretty thin on the ground right now. Not what you need to deal with that many Colossi. However, more to the point, Select is not allowed to expand into this area, ever. It's just not allowed to happen, I'm sorry. Another one coming down, which will be blocked once again. Let's have a look at an army count comparison. Socke has numbers right now. He's just not able to do anything with it. Is he finally going to be able to push forward and actually do some real damage right now to Select? I really, really do not know right now. It is an absolutely absurd matchup that we have going on. Socke pushes forward. He has control of this area. Hell, if he expands here and actually gets a Nexus down, that's going to make a massive difference. I'm kind of surprised. He's putting a Nexus down right there instead, right next to the main base of Select. Why not? Just because he can right now. More Ghosts coming on the way for Select right here, and why not? Sounds like a plan, considering the amount of High Templar on the field and the amount of shields that he needs to drain. EMP is going to become more useful now, considering the upgrades to the shields. That EMP is actually going to become a vital part, I think, of the strategy for Select if he wants to continue to push forward. But still, he just doesn't really have the army count right now to do any real damage. Army supply count still firmly in favor of Socke, and actually, if you notice, Select is really starting to bleed out now. His economy's gotten to the point where he cannot support building anything anymore. He is very low on everything. He has been denied every expansion by Socke. Socke has now expanded into this area as well. And what can Select do? Actually, Select really has only got one option, which is to go for a final push and do some real damage to his opponent and take an expansion. If he can't do it, this is going to be game over. He is bled dry right now by Socke. Barely any income coming in. I mean, look at that. It is pretty horrible, honestly. We might even be getting some long-distance mining. In fact, we are actually getting some long-distance mining right there from that expansion. And why not? Socke jumps in once again, looks to try and take out the Vikings, but here we go. Marauders pushing in right there. This could be the final push right now for Select. Are we seeing any storms? We are actually not. Dark Templar not doing an awful lot. Select is holding this line right here. Oh, there we go. Delayed storms, and Select was caught completely off guard by that. And Socke blinks all the way out. However, he's losing a few Stalkers in the process. Runs right into a storm, loses 2 Marauders. And here's the thing. Socke can afford these losses. Select cannot. The army comparison still firmly in Socke's favor. The income comparison, there's barely any gas coming in for Select as well. He has to get here. He must secure this expansion in order to stay in the game. He has no other option. Socke does not want to let him have it. This is the only active expansion in the game. Once again, Socke right into an EMP right there. Can he take the Vikings out if he can? And those Colossi are going to be able to survive. However, one taken down. He's got 1 in reserve right there. There comes the Storm as they retreat. They run right into it. A second Storm rips through it. A third Storm. Select cannot hold the line. GG! GG! Ladies and gentlemen, 46 minutes right here on the Shakuras Plateau. Holy hell. You like macro games? I like macro games. Oh, what the hell was all that about? That was unbelievable play there by both players. excellent game. And eventually Socke just bled him dry. That was his strategy, and it worked. Must have blown up that same command center 5 times. I cannot imagine any other possibility. Select was not able to get momentum in that game at any point. He was doing a lot of damage, but never to the critical areas. He took 1 base out, but no drops or anything like that. So what can you expect, really? If you are consistently denied the ability to harass, if you are consistently denied the ability to expand, then you will inevitably lose at some point, about 46 minutes into the game.